Lynn.
And I'm Amanda. And this is the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast.
This podcast is all about taking action and creating that badass business abundance and life that you want.
Where we share stories, laughs, wins, and epic fails to show you the whole picture of the entrepreneurial journey.
It's not just unicorns and rainbows, people.
Jump on and follow us through this raw and witty roller coaster,
where we get down and dirty and go behind the scenes of life and entrepreneurship.
Get on it,
get over it,
and get after it.
Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda. Welcome to the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast.
Yeah, as your host today, we're going to talk a little bit about that dirty little word that everybody uses. Actually, not everybody. Busy. Or the phrase, I'm busy. Ugh.
Too busy. I don't have time for that. Oh,
I'm getting hives. I think my chest just broke out. Did you see my chest broke out?
It's the worst.
Your neck got red.
It did. Look at that. It's like instantaneous hatred of that phrase. So it is no secret for anybody who knows me personally or anybody who has simply read our book. I super duper crazy despise the concept of I am too busy or I don't have time for that. I hate it. So I know I'm not supposed to say hate, but I hate it. I hate it. I tell my kid, don't say, oh, we don't hate things. No, I hate that concept because I think people use it so much as a crutch to not do something. I'm too busy to live out my life's passions because I have all these work responsibilities, or I'm too busy to go on a date, or I'm too busy to get this done, or I couldn't possibly do this. And they use it as not only a crutch to not do things, but as like this status symbol, like I'm so productive because I'm busy. Oh, I'm just so busy. I have so much to do. No, you're not busy. You're not prioritizing things. And you aren't being honest with yourself, because I think the word busy, I will go on forever about how much I hate this word. So you guys just buckle up, folks. I think that people use that word. It's a made up word, really. I mean, it's not a made up word. Somebody made it up though.
Somebody did make it up.
Webster made it up. I don't know. Somebody made it up. But the point is, people use that word incorrectly. What they really are trying to say is that whatever you're offering is something that isn't a priority to them. And they're not making it a priority for whatever reason that could be. It could be that because they genuinely don't want to do it. It could be because they're afraid of something that's happening. There are lots of reasons to say that you're too busy. But I find that more often than not, the real reason that they don't want to, that they're saying that they're too busy is it because they don't actually want to do it. Like, for example, oh, I'm just too busy to go work out. Like, no, you don't want to do it. You're lazy. You don't feel like doing it. You don't want to work out. That's fine. Like just admit it to yourself. I say all the time, I'm too busy to date because I don't want to do it. Freaking hate it. So it's not that I'm too busy. In fact, whenever someone hears me say my friends, if they ever hear me say the word busy, and I almost never do, it is a flat out lie. I am not too busy. I just don't want to do it. And it's me trying to be nice to tell someone like, I don't want to do it.
Yes. Let me jump in a little bit, because I know both of us could talk about this topic for more than our 20, 30 minutes. And you called it a crutch. I would say definitely people use it as an excuse, an external and an internal. And it is such a go-to that I think people don't even think about it. Like it's an auto response almost that it's happening. And so several things here. First of all, we need to really kick everything off the pedestal that it is okay to be, and for people who get a lot of shit done, like we are extremely productive, extremely efficient, and like checking things off of our list in a foundational way. However, and we'll get to that a little bit. However, like it's just become this norm of this, like you said, the status to be too busy or busy, and that's not the way we should be looking at life. And it has become just a status quo. It's become an excuse for internal and external. And I would agree that, you don't want to do it, but it's also about prioritization. Like, what's my priority? And so, when we look at something and if we're actually have a lot on our plate, if it's important to me, if it's a priority to me, then I'm going to make it happen. And where I find hypocrisy, I should say, people being a hypocrite in some ways. And I know I've been this way lately since I ruptured my calf, is like the whole workout thing. Like, I actually love to work out. It's making the time to do it. I'm not saying that I'm too busy to do it. I'm just not making the prioritization of it, even though I want it. I just am not making that.
Okay, but I'm going to call you out on that, because that's not the same thing, because you're injured. That's not the same thing as saying you're too busy to work out. You're not too busy to work out. You are too injured to work out. You would make it a priority if you weren't injured.
Thanks.
And you should be making your injury a priority, because that's a whole other thing.
I agree. And I can say, if I'm being completely transparent, no, there are times where, like, even though I want to work out and I know I want to work out, I'm not prioritizing it. However, I'm not using the term I'm too busy. There are people who might imply it or apply it onto me, right? To put it on, like, people look at you like, oh, you're so busy. Which, that's the other aspect that I want to look at, is like, are you lying to yourself about it? Are you even looking at what you're doing and seeing what is productivity, what is money-making business, what is depositing back into you? Like, and really, if you did a time analysis, people aren't as busy as what they think they are. Like, it's insane when I walk clients through this. And also, the stuff that they're doing isn't getting them anywhere. It's keeping them in a very ho-hum state. And I was actually on a networking event, a virtual networking event yesterday. And I heard a couple of people, and they didn't actually say that they were busy, but they were talking about, oh, and I do this and I do this, and I'm creative with my time. And I love that they didn't come out and say that I'm busy. However, they did, in other terms, essentially, they like a mediocre, kind of just like ho-hum life. And so they're not necessarily bringing in new business. And if you want that type of lifestyle, a mediocre and just ho-hum life, then yeah, you can live in that status. Because even though he wasn't saying, these two people, they weren't saying that they were busy, they were not in those terms. And so at the end of the day, the results of your life, personal and business, are going to show like where your prioritization went, right?
And I think that a lot of that comes from the idea that you, like you said, you do prioritize, and some priorities are very easy to make. For example, you get the phone call that your kid broke his leg. Like, obviously you're going to prioritize going to the hospital over, a grocery trip to the grocery store. It doesn't mean that you were too busy necessarily. It just, there are certain priorities that jump out at you as like obvious. I need to address these things. But then when it comes down to prioritization over your day as a business owner, I find so many of my clients think they're busy doing work for the business when they're busy just complaining about the work that they have for their business. And they make these to-do lists like it's a task that they're going to get through. But instead of actually getting through that list, they're just talking about the list. And they're not really prioritizing their time in a way that's effective. So then they add on to this busy mentality. I'm so busy. I have so much work to do. I can never get all this done. And they spiral as business owners. And I think a lot of new business owners, particularly, I work with a lot of new business owners, and they just have this feeling like it's so overwhelming because there's so much to do. And yes, running a business is a lot of work, and there's a lot in the beginning, but if you're not prioritizing it correctly and you're not really actually getting anything done, and you're just spending all your time talking about the things rather than doing the things, you're going to feel that busy, quote unquote, weight on you. And it's going to create that burnout and that overwhelm that so many business owners get because they aren't properly prioritizing their schedules.
Well, absolutely. And if I can add to that from a sales point of view, a couple of things. First of all, if you're in that state, you are less likely to attract clients because the vibration is off, if you want to go on the more like woo side, but also like people are looking at you. And I have been guilty of this, even though I would not call myself busy. I would just say, listen, I have a lot going on. And even right now with the book launch and rebranding and all this other stuff, and the next book coming out in the podcast and our course and courses here, etc. Right? Everything that I have going on, I don't say that I'm busy. I have a lot going on right now. And so my head is hunkered down and I'm hyper focusing on certain aspects, right? Where I'm kind of letting other things go. But what happens is that even people's perception of what you're doing can prevent you from actually getting clients because they automatically assume you're too busy to take them, right? So there is this like balance that you have to find as you navigate, even for those of us who don't like that term and really understand like the ramifications that it can have when we use it. But also think about, and not but, and also think about like the perception that you're giving, because if you're giving off the perception that you're too busy and that you're not open for new business or whatnot, maybe you're not. But if you are, you need to be aware of that, because people are not going to come to you, and especially new business owners, because you need clients. If you do not have clients, you do not have a business. If you do not have, like, listen to that. And we are going to talk a lot about hobby versus business as well in our podcast.
Yes.
If you do not have clients, you do not have a business. And if you do not have reoccurring, I mean, obviously depending on your business model, but if you don't have consistent clients and reoccurring clients, for a lot of us, like, you don't have a business, right? And so if you're positioning yourself in a place or saying that you're too busy, you are manifesting no room for new growth.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. And I think I've actually had clients who had a business. It's not a business model, but as like an advertising idea where they told people they were busier than they were, so they would create scarcity. It's like, oh, look how busy I am. And like the funny thing, they're like, I want to create scarcity. Then people are going to want to come to me, like, guess what? You just created scarcity, because now nobody wants to come to you because you are quote unquote too busy for them. And you've just perpetuated that. Like now you are done. Now the scarcity has overrun your business and now you're running out of business. So it's a real thing. And I think, I know I come down really hard on people who say they're too busy, but every time I hear someone say it, I just want to kind of want to like smack them around a little bit and just be like, is that really what you mean? And so for me, when I am talking to clients who are stuck in this, I'm too busy, I have too much to do, there's not enough time in the day. Like we all have the same 24 hours. And I know there's a lot of controversy in that, because like we don't all technically have the same 24 hours. Some of us have kids, some of us have medical things going on, some of us have, crazier lives than others, but it's still technically the same 24 hours. So you're not necessarily busy. You just need to reprioritize what is important to you. So for my clients, I always recommend, if you want to consider it an action item, think the day before, like what items are really your top priority? What do you have to get done? And I usually try to limit that to no more than 3. Like these are the 3 items I have to bust out, and I get those done first so that I can, anything else is just bonus for the day. But those 3 items are my items. And that way I'm not going around in these like huge circles of, I didn't get anything done today. There's no time to do all the things. Like my to-do list is never going to end because I'm always adding to it. I think it's unrealistic to imagine that your to-do list is ever going to go away. I mean, maybe one Post-it note gets thrown away, but there's still 50 more Post-it notes, because as a business owner, at least, not even as my personal, like, yeah, see, Lynn, you've got business notes, you got those notes.
Post-it notes.
But as a business owner, if I stop having things on my to-do list, I think everybody should be real worried. Like, what? Am I planning my own demise? Am I about to make this exit strategy and plan my death? Like, what? Nothing is happening there. If I don't have another idea, that's the point of being a business owner, is to have those big ideas and have those next steps. So your to-do list is never going to go away. So being busy, quote unquote, is never going to go away. You're always going to have something to do. So you need to prioritize what you're doing, and then rethink the way you talk about your day. Because if you come at your day and it's constantly too busy, I don't have time for that, I'm so overwhelmed, but your body's going to agree. They're just, your body, the universe, if you want to be woo-woo about it, like you were saying, the world's going to agree with you. So if you keep telling yourself that you're too busy, your body and your mind are going to start to agree with you, and you're only going to feel worse, not better. So instead, you should flip the narrative and be like, I'm not too busy. I'm going to prioritize this. I'm not too broke to afford that. I'm just going to rebudget. And it's all the way you reframe your thinking and the way you say things that's going to create that abundance in your life. And I just think that for myself, for my clients, for anybody listening, you're not too busy. Like, rethink the way you're saying that, the way you're talking to yourself, because you are perpetuating that just in the way you're talking to yourself.
Absolutely. And you actually took my takeaway. So I'll just recap what you said. The 2 takeaways or action items would be, which I love that, and we'll talk about this definitely in the list making topic too, but I do the 3 things that I need to prioritize that day. Like, and it does go to the bigger goals, but we'll talk more about that in another podcast.
Forever, many times.
All the time. But also reframing the way we think, reframing when other people say, oh, you're just too busy. No, actually, I'm just head down, laser focus, or my prioritization isn't there. Like, that's not my priority right now. And, I think of like, when I used to run multiple businesses as well, when I lived in Hawaii. I mean, I have multiple businesses now, but this is when I had 3 teenage kids. I was the area director for a networking organization, overseeing 7 chapters across 2 islands, plus helping with training amongst all of them, and having multiple businesses, true businesses where I had employees, right? And we were making a profit most of the time, depending on the job. Anyway, with that being said, like, I actually, like, people would ask me, oh, can we have a meeting? Can we have a meeting? Can we have a meeting? And I had a pecking order of the people that I would actually meet with when I was really thinly spread. Even now, like, I'm not going to as many networking events or like having as many meetings, because unless there is a strategic reason why I need to right there, it doesn't mean that I don't love my friends or like I don't want to be around them. It's just right now, my priority is head down in this empire, head down, like making sure that I'm completing whatever tasks in the pecking order, meeting with the people who need to meet with me the most, or are paying me to guide them, right? So that's taking care of your client load. So reframing, not just your internal dialogue, but also your external verbalization of it, as well as what other people think about you. So those would definitely be the 2 action items I would say. And just like, get comfortable with not saying that you're busy, like, and really try to look at it through fresh eyes. If you want to add one more action item to this, and I know we'll talk about this, is actually to keep and this would be great. You can start today. It's small, but keep a time log of everything that you're doing, because this is where you're going to be able to start making changes and see what you're actually doing versus this perception. And some people, and Amanda and I laugh about this, and not laughing at the person, but laughing at the situation, because we understand it. We see people do it all the time, where you're paralyzed because you think that you're so busy, but yet you're actually not doing much. It's more in your head and so you become paralyzed, right? And so,
yes. And you don't even see it because you're so in it. So it's a great tip to write it down and actually look at it analytically after the fact, because when you looked at it, you're like, oh, I actually only did 45 minutes of work. And the rest of the day I was like obsessing and freaking out. And then I had a massage, and then I went and then I, had to talk to my girlfriend, and then, so it's amazing how you don't see it when you're in it. So
absolutely. And I do want to add to that, and this will go to other conversations that we'll have, is when you can actually break it apart, then you're able to bento box your energy in a way that's going to give you more back, right? It's going to deposit more into you, because like the day that Amanda just said, if you're looking at as one busy ass day versus, oh, I accomplished this in 45 minutes, then I redeposited myself in a massage, right? When you can separate all of the actions in your day or all of the things that you're doing, you're able to show up differently for those. Like, I'm going to show up differently for a sales call than I am for a massage, than I am for a strategic meeting, than I am for, a book signing, right? So like you actually gain energy back, you gain clarity, you gain momentum, etc. But we are at our time, Amanda. I know we can, yes. we will probably have this topic several times. So we'd love to know if
revisit
questions or comments. Please shoot us a DM. We'd love to hear.
Absolutely. So everyone, I know you can do this. You're not too busy this week to get these things accomplished. We believe in you. Now let's get after it.
Absolutely. Till next time, let's get after it. Bye.